Welcome to PSD to HTML5 and CSS3. This video is called Global Styles and Typography. What we're going to be doing in this video is focusing primarily on setting up the style sheet and declaring the typographic and global styles of our website. So let's get started by diving right in. Open up your code editor and go to your style.css file. The first thing that I like doing is adding some CSS comments to organize my style sheet a little bit before I get actually styling the site. So this is how you add a CSS comment. Right here, everything in between these two sections will be added as a CSS comment, and you won't see that in the website. It'll just be in the code, and it's for your own reference. So in between here, I'm going to add the name of the file, and I'm going to declare some colors. And like I said, this won't show up in the site. This is just for your own reference. And this will save us time when we need to start referencing colors instead of swapping back and forth between Photoshop and your code editor. This will save you some time. So I'm just going to straight up declare the colors of the site. So let's do that by going to our Photoshop document here. And let's grab the eyedropper tool. You can also press I and then click on a color. So start with black. It'll pop it down here in our swatches. I'm going to copy that, and this is black. There will also be a darker gray, which I will find right here. It's very subtle, but this text is the darkest gray out of all of this. So you can get the color by choosing the type tool, selecting that text, and right here will be the color. So it's 222, 222. Copy that. There is darker gray. Then there will be dark gray, I believe. We'll get dark gray right here. Actually, possibly this text. Nope. Okay. Darker gray is right here. Select that. Here it is. Copy that. Whoops. That was 444, 444. Copy that. If I'm not mistaken, I believe I made a little mistake here, and this is the dark gray, this text. Select it up here, and yes, I'm right. Here it is. So this will actually be the dark gray. And then there will just be gray, which we just had there is 444, 444, and there will be light gray. So lots of gray in this site. The light gray is right here. Copy that. And here's our light gray. Then we have two blue colors. We have a light blue, which you can find right here. Eyedropper tool. There's the blue. Copy that. There's a light blue, and then there's a dark blue, find right here. So I believe that this is all of our colors, and you'll see here once we start coding up the CSS how this will benefit you. So I'm going to add more CSS comments to help organize the site. All right, so you can general styles. I'm adding these lines here basically so that you can, it's easier to read. It's not totally necessary to put this, but I like putting this because once you have a whole bunch of code in here, it can get really hard to navigate your style sheet, and this stands out quite well and it helps to organize your code. So feel free to do it however you want. You can have a really simple comment like something like this, or you can go the route that I'm going and have this big grand title, and I find that this is a lot easier to navigate. So we're going to do a couple more of these. We have general styles, we also have typography, and we also have, let's see, I believe layout, and there is also global styles. Let's put some space in between here so you can see. There's going to be more comments. We're going to be adding comments as we go, but for now these are the 4 major sections that we'll start with. We'll probably be adding a couple more of these guys as we get going and as we come across them. You can't know everything that you're going to do from the beginning. We might come across some certain things that might need to be organized themselves. So that's how we'll get started. So now the first thing we're going to do is do some general styles. So under the general styles section, I'm going to select HTML. So this is how in CSS you select an element. Right here I'm selecting the HTML tag, and everything in between these two curly braces is going to be what we're styling. So if I wanted the background to be pink, that's how you'd make the HTML background pink. We don't need to do that, but you can. This is how you can select certain things. You can use div. You can select header tags. You can select multiple tags by putting a comma between them. You can even select more if you wanted. If you wanted all of these to have the same styles. So like this. We don't really want that though. Or you can select IDs, something like, you can select multiple IDs. You can select classes. And so on and so forth. It would be useful to have a little bit of knowledge in CSS, but it's not entirely necessary. But having a little bit of knowledge might take out the mystery of what I'm doing here in some of these cases here. So we'll get started by doing a couple things here to clean up our website. So I'm going to add, I like adding this snippet of code always right at the beginning. I get it out of the way and it just kind of sets me off on the right foot. Whoops. WebKit font smoothing, anti-aliased, and text rendering. Optimize legibility. So what this is going to do is it's going to anti-alias and smooth out the text, at least in, here, let's fix that red. Okay, at least in Safari and in Chrome. It might also work in Firefox, but basically in those two browsers, you can see here the text is a little bit chunky. You might not really notice it, but if you pay really close attention to what happens when I add this style. So if I put this back and save, just look at this header text here. Just watch around the edges of the R. You see how it just kind of shaved a little bit around the edges? It kind of smoothed out the text, and it's just a really subtle difference, but I believe that the differences in the details and that sort of attention to detail can make a user experience quite pleasant. So there is our anti-aliasing of our text. We're also going to style the body now. And we're going to declare a font family. Oops. So this is called a font family. There is a family of fonts, and the browser first starts with the very first one you declared, and then it moves down the line for a fallback, just in case your browser or your computer does not have this font. So say a user's browser does not have this font. It will then try and find Helvetica. If it can't find Helvetica, it'll move on to Arial, so on and so forth. So this is a really standard font family. I'm wanting to use the Helvetica. What I like to just say is new. Perhaps it's pronounced Neue or something like that, but I'm just going to say Helvetica New because I don't want to sound like a goof. Here is the font family. I believe it will change it subtly. You'll see really subtle differences, but that's the font family we're using. Font size. Let's declare font size. The base font size, let's do 14 pixels. And the line height will be 20 pixels. And the color of all of the text to start with will be gray that we declared up here. So this is where I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it here and save, and let's see what it does. There we go. So it's basically, we kind of did a few things here. Text is gray. We're going to be changing some of this stuff. A lot of this will still change, but just a few minor details to clean up the site a bit. So then that's all for general styles. For now, let's move on to typography. Let's have some space in here. And now let's declare some styles for the H1, the H2, and the H3. The font weight, I want it to be, I want them to be 300. You can also choose bold. Say for example, if I said bold, let's see what that does. So it's it seems like it's already at bold. I think 300 is also bold. Actually, no, 300 is very light. So that's what we're going to do. For the H1, 2, and 3, we want the font weight to be 300. Margin, we want no margin, so 0. And for line height, because this is a little bit bigger, we want it to be 45 pixels. There we go. It's good for now. And we're going to declare the H4, H5, and H6. These guys are going to have a font weight of bold, and they are going to have a margin of 5 pixels on the top, 0 on the right, 5 pixels on the bottom, and 0 on the left. How this works, it goes, you can kind of consider it northeast, south, and west. So top, right, bottom, left. So that's if you if you look at like a box, say for example, the 5 pixels is padding on the very top, 0 is on the right, 5 will be on the bottom, 0 will be on the left. So that's how you declare margin and padding. So that will be that. Let's go here. Just a few little things. They'll come in handy once we start getting into coding the rest. So now let's specifically access the H1. The font size, let's see what the font size is. This right here is our H1. We want that font size to be 48 pixels. So that's easy enough. 48 pixels. Give that a little check. Yep. Now we want this. We want the H2 to be the correct font size. We want it to be that size right there, which will be 24 pixels. So let's go back here to our code and style the H2. Font size will be 24 pixels. There we go. Now we have the H3, which in our design is down here. That's our H3, and that looks a little bit bigger than our H2 up there, so let's find out what that size is. It looks like it's 30 pixels. So let's declare H3 as 30 pixels. Font size, 30 pixels. Give that a little view. There we go. Now we have these guys. We have our H4. So we want to change that. It looks like here that they're bold and they're a little bit bigger than what we have. So let's do that. In our Photoshop document, make this a little bigger here. That's 18 pixels. So let's declare that. That's our H4. Font size will be 18 pixels. We're going to have some margin on our H4 because we've declared that here we have 5 pixels on the top and bottom, but we actually, for the H4, we want it to have more. So we'll say for the H4, we'll have 10 pixels, 0. So this is shorthand. Instead of writing this, basically this is what this means. 10 on the top, 0 on the right, 10 on the bottom, 0 on the left. But if your top and bottom and your right and left are the same, say for example, the top and bottom are 10 pixels and the right and left are 0. What you can do is just declare two numbers, and now what this means is 10 pixels is for the top and bottom, and 0 pixels is for the right and the left. So just for saving typing, I'll just put 10 and 0. So if I save that, we'll see some slight differences here. It's a little bit bigger, and then the margin on the top is a little more even. Perfect. Now we're going to move on to our H5. We use our H5 in the sidebar. It's the date right here, and that looks like it is 13 pixels, and it's all caps. So we want to do that by going font size, 13 pixels. We want no margin. 0 means 0 on the top, right, bottom, and left. And we want text transform. We want to transform that text into all uppercase. So now if we have a little look, here it is, all uppercase. All right, so now we're going to style the paragraph tags. So let's select paragraph tag. And we want to have all paragraph tags to have margin of 0 on the top, 0 on the right, 10 pixels on the bottom, and 0 on the left. If I save that and view it, you'll see a little difference here. Or maybe you won't. It might have already had 10 pixels on the bottom, but we'll leave that. Okay. Now we have an alternate version of that paragraph tag right here in our design. You can see that this is still a paragraph tag, but it's bigger. It's a different style than the rest of the paragraphs. So what we want to do is we want to go back to our HTML, and we want to find that paragraph tag, which is right here, and let's give that paragraph the class of lead, as in leading texts. So now what we can do is we can access that by going P for paragraph, but that paragraph tag has the class of lead. So there we go. That's how you access a specific tag. So this is connected. This is a paragraph tag. It has the class of lead, so it's declared as one little unit right here. That's how you select it. And the difference in that is the font size is larger, which looks like it is 18 pixels. The font weight is lighter, and I believe it's 300 weight. And the line height will be 24 pixels. So that'll space it out properly, and this will change here, watch. There we go. So there's our leading paragraph text right there. So this is all for some of the just maintenance of the styles of the site here. Just some housekeeping details. What we did is we, just to review, so we started out our style sheet by declaring some comments here with the colors. And we started organizing our style sheet by putting some titles here of the sections. So the general styles, we have our HTML and body. We have a typography section, which we started styling the majority of the typography. We also added some other sections that we'll get to in the next video. So that's all for this video, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.